Okay, so recording is up. All right, so let's start with what do I have to share. So I have some. I am not done with the amendments for grants. I'm gonna just drop it in the. I'm just gonna drop it in the community voice chat. What I have so far, and I'll just do a quick rundown. I'm like. I'd say either 60 to 70% done with it. I need more time because I'm finishing up the last few sections of it, and I had a better idea to do calendars. So basically, I'm trying to make this as simplified and as agnostic as possible. Just talking about what the point of this is, and then revamping. Basically embedding questions on what this is and who this is for, keeping a few items of about community involvement, about what this is, or how we can get involved, detailing specifically the parameters, details of what it means to be a participant in the specific cohort. I've designated it cohort X because where X is the version that we're in, so that way it's not specified to a specific one. The big thing that I had mentioned last week is this new position, which subject to change. I'm calling it the grants coordinator, or GC, and this is just basically the person who just makes sure everything's on track. You are you pick this person. And they are going to be responsible for making sure that people are that the participants in cohort X are adhering to their schedule. If there are any type of scheduling that the participants need to be done, this is the person that you do for it. They make all the announcements, the Twitter posts, they set up the snapshots or any of the votes. This is the person that you do it, so that way a one person is in charge of making sure that all this runs smoothly. So that way, if they need to do something, they know who to go to talk to, instead of just messaging 5-6 people all at once and then hoping somebody is available to quickly do it. So that was my big idea that I'm kind of working into this, and it would be a paid thing. You would get some fractional amount that would be discussed, to be discussed at the time of it. Still working on that, but that was the big thing that I took away from the last cohort into this one, is that you just need somebody to be available at all time to answer questions and do shit.
Take shifts, availability shifts, where it could be you get a certain amount based on the amount of tasks you have to respond to, or tickets, or whatever, or you just get an idle fee just for being available and present. We talk about the details later, but
yeah,
I think you're absolutely right. We need a set, reliable, consistent people like that stuff. If we're trying to build infrastructure,
Yeah, I'm also working on the basically spelling out the duration, timeline, and schedule, and it's basically more than this is what the cohorts see, but this is here is your timeline for building this project out. And originally I wrote it out in weeks and words, and I didn't like it, and then I realized you could do a table, and I was going to build it out as a table, and I stopped that because I wanted to focus on that. But so I'm building out the schedule, timeline, and I would basically, you start week 1, day 1, and then here is everything from start to finish, from announcements to payments to when the start of the cohort starts, when the end of the cohort ends, and all that stuff. So that way there's a shot, it's right in there, and if it's basically, it's a static agnostic version, so that way you just transplant it to whenever you want it to be, and then you just count the days, so that way everybody is aware of oh, okay, here's the schedule, here's when I can expect these things, and then if anybody wants to take this and fork it, they don't have to. There's very little work that they would have to do to fork any of this, and that's the point. Keep this as generic as possible for it. So I gotta, the goal is to, maybe when I'm finished with everything else, to go back and fill in the calendar, but there's that. I also left it open to not be a 6-week program, but also be 8 or 12, maybe longer, depending on whatever it is, and just kind of fill it in there. I also was going to add in a section that cohorts, the specific purpose of cohorts can be specified to specific purposes. If we wanted to do just open-ended, if you wanted to do tailor to a specific theme or a specific project or a scope, like you can do that. I was going to write something in there, but I'm trying to finish everything else.
We should just take a step back real fast and just fill the mix. I don't know if Hero or Garrett know like the reasoning why or what our conversation has been over the last couple of calls, or maybe Micah. But basically, me and LiveFast were talking about. Well, really, I'll take even a further step back. So, I think last time we all got together, we were talking about like doing like a party or some other stuff too. We were talking about doing that stuff, and obviously that's died on the vine, which is fine. It's probably for the best. But basically, me and LiveFast were just kind of in the last couple of conversations, just like, you know what? Let's just go back to what we originally, started this whole project for. Why we're doing all of this in the first place, and really that revolves around like giving away grants and trying to help people. And so, it's even especially now, like during times like now, even if ETH is like even at $1,000, I mean the amount of money that we're giving away, it might not be a lot to some people, but to people in different parts of the world, it can still be like a considerable amount of money. So basically the goal moving forward is, okay, let's just focus on getting another grants round running, figuring out what was difficult about the last one in terms of like needs on our end, how to simplify that, and then we came up with the idea of like, well, really LiveFast did, maybe there should really just be one person in charge of kind of like the basic deliverables, and that person should just get paid. And I believe LiveFast is volunteering for that, and we'll figure out how to ratify that. But basically the idea is, okay, this should make giving future grants a lot easier if it's LiveFast, handling some of the heavy work on that end, or if it's one of us or even somebody else. And let's just keep giving away grants, because we've got plenty of ETH in the treasury for a decent amount of grants. But I at least want to just keep doing that. I think that's that basically the high level.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Cool. I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because I didn't know.
Yeah, I've been trying to keep up with at least the meeting notes, and that all seems, about what I had perceived. Let's put it that way.
So.
Totally. I would say that I have like light centralization concerns, but at the same time, like it's just totally practical. And I mean, LiveFast, you grab it, you run with it, which I love, and it's great. And so like, no worries about mission getting accomplished. I did like the sort of like the 3-person deal from last time. But I also, at the end of the day, like it is helpful when the buck stops with someone, which is one place where DAOs continually sort of fail. And so I support it for that too.
When you say the 3-person topic, what is that referring to?
No, I mean just like with you and Micah and Garrett last time, right? Like I like that you both three were sort of leading the charge on it, and I didn't find like the lack of a central contact point or like clear leader of that group to be necessarily detrimental to the cohort last time. I mean, I could certainly see how a single point of contact and ownership like is good for certain things, and in some ways, LiveFast, you sort of did that anyway, right?
Yeah.
Like you did that AMA toward the end and stuff. So like, I get it. That's natural. I'm just raising that and like not an obstacle, just a feeling and throwing it out there.
Yeah, it's you're right. I did do a lot of that because I personally felt that if it needed to be done, and if I didn't do it, nothing would happen. There was no follow up with them. There was no encouragement. There was no updates. We kind of we did it, and then it just fell to the wayside. And I was like, well, how can we make this better? And I was like, look, well, I'm like, we could do this. It's not meant for I'm not writing this for myself, but I'm writing this for everybody else. So that way, I don't have to do this every time. And if somebody else wants to do it, they can. And there's a reason why you would want to be invested in making sure that this runs well, is because you're going to get paid. The overarching theme is, when you give somebody money to do stuff's it's going to get done, and it's going to get done pretty well. Because we kind of really did drop the ball on a lot of aspects on cohort 0, which kind of is what I'm trying to solve.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know that I would agree with that assessment per se that we dropped like a lot of balls on Cohort Zero. I think for like what we did and what you guys built, like it actually was pretty freaking good. I mean, it's good to be critical of what we've done, but I mean, I don't know that I'd be harsh.
I mean,
I totally like you should be paid and all that stuff. Like I'm cool with all that. I just wanted to raise the centralization concern.
I mean,
for sake. And that
yeah.
I'm fine going that way. But I feel like if Garrett or Micah want to participate to the extent they did last time, like that should be on the table.
Yeah, if you guys like, if they wanted to like chip in, like for like if they wanted to help in, like that is also a topic. You don't like. I mean, again, it's not like I'm not opposed to. I mean, like this is just like I'm still trying to finish up this draft, and then if they wanted to like fix a lot of other things, like you wanted to have like 3 central per piece, you wanted to have like more than one person to handle these things. Like I'm okay with that. I'm still trying to like wrap this up as quickly as possible to give you, hey, here is a complete draft. And not, instead of like a 70% of a draft, while I'm still trying to like figure out everything else, and then you guys can just like add and change what you don't like or what you don't what you like to it.
Yeah, awesome. I mean, it's great you're doing that. I really don't have super strong feelings as bringing it up. And at the end of the day, like, what do you want to see is like a grants program that runs well and that is more responsive than last time.
Yeah,
totally.
The last. I mean, the other 2 things that like I'm still working on. Well, I got it. Like, I'm working on the governance. What does it mean to be a grant governance, and what does it entail? I'm basically just like cutting out anything that is dead weight to me. Basically, like grants governance is handled by people who are attending grants meetings, and like that's it. There's no, like the only snapshot vote that needs to happen in this governance is basically it's actually just simplified. It is just the who is the participant for cohort X. Do we do a grant round? Do we? What is the designated amount of monetary currency that we're going to provide, and the dates and who is going to like help manage the coordinators is all done by majority of the grants team. Doesn't need to be a snapshot vote because that would just adds to unnecessary timing of it, and then like that can all be handled by the grants team because that's just simple. It's just faster and simplified, and it reduces the number of votes that we actually need to, like the number of votes for snapshot. So that was a big thing that I was thinking of. And then the last thing, which I'm hit or miss, which is open to discussion if you guys have additional thoughts, but we're 100% cutting out coordinate, never going back, but I was thinking of switching to a fixed payment, 50 up front, 50 at the end payment. But I know Bushi had said, well, there's really like what's really the point of like 50 up front, 50 at the end when you could just do 100% at the front, which is also fair. I have no real strong opinions. I do like the 50% up front, 50 on the back end, just because of in the event that like. They are sorry. I just slapped my mic. I'm talking with my hands that none of you can see. The half up front, half on the end just helps to prevent if they were all show and they decide to like rug and run with the money, which is fine. But most of the time, if they do rug us, that's probably like as Bushi had once mentioned to me that that's a failure on our part to screen them properly. But it's also it's also something it's also a I would while I understand that, I've also started to bake in more requirements of the participants in cohort, basically by just saying that like, hey, if you're going to be here and you're doing a specific type of journey, I kind of broke it down into like 3 ideas, like a journey of like self-discovery of like what you're going to do in Web3. Are you working on a product? Or are you working on a product, or are you trying to sustain a specific lifestyle? Hold on, I had a section on it. Where is it? Oh yeah. It's like, are you looking to fund? It was basically in the opening. Ideal grant recipients. Are you looking to use this grant to fund your transition into working in Web3 or for a DAO, or are you using it to fund a Web3 DAO project or a personal project of your own? In the latter two cases, basically in every situation, I'm asking that like at the end of the week they provide some type of blog update of like what did they accomplish this week, what did they learn, stuff like that. And if they're working on a project, will we be able to see like some type of minimal viable product of some sorts, and give updates on that. So that way we have a story that we could tell. And this also would help. I mean, this is also kind of like selfish of me, but this also helps me generate a quick and easy copy paste blog I could just throw into the newsletter and send out for people to read. I included something like that, and also like
nothing wrong with that.
And also included some specifics that like, hey, we will ask you to probably participate in a few personalized AMAs, or like specific roundtables, or do interviews with you as well, open-ended for like newsletters, or if we ever do a podcast or anything in there, or any other type of like community discussion calls for there. So that way, if we do half and half, like it's also like there's incentive to keep up doing this. So that way, when we measure at the end of it, like how well were they able to like maintain like, hey, specific tasks, like, hey, we were asking like, being a part of this, like we asked you that you do this, you do this, you do this, as well. It's just something I see. Those two don't need to be be related to each other. They can be separate things. But it's still something else I've been working on, and that's basically it. The last, I'm still finalizing the grant governance, writing out the stages and the details of the stage, and then getting rid of a lot of other nonsense in here. But that's where I'm at so far. Any questions so far?
I think if you're not going to like hold people accountable in some measurable way, you should probably just give them the ETH up front, and then rely on screening. And if you screw up, learn from it.
Yeah.
And then maybe you talk about like some kind of public shaming, which seems like a really bad idea. But I think you just probably learn and move on. I mean, that would eliminate an amount of administrative burden. And like sort of unnecessary stuff. Coordinate, I mean, God bless you, Garrett, was cool. But that was a lot of work for the outcome, and then snapshot out.
Yeah, it was worth a shot, but definitely a lot of manual entry and stuff.
You learn, and yeah, all that sounds pretty good, awesome work.
All right. So that's what I got for grants. Now for like the actual like, hey, I don't know what to do, and I don't want to make a decision on my own because that affects both me personally and financially, and also like for tax reasons. So like I need to talk to like, well, the two other people like are here. So we are basically nearly up and running on Pallet. I have a list of recommended jobs up in there. I'm planning on making an announcement asking the community what kind of jobs they are looking for, and I'm in the process of getting ready to start accepting people and their basically their criteria to put them up for a talent board and start getting them all set up. Things are looking good. It is just basically just mindless data entry until I get the stuff up. The hang up I'm having right now is how we are going to get paid for all this, and that is the Stripe account on here. Interestingly enough, they have three options for us. It's basically you set up Stripe and you're either a individual, a business, or a nonprofit. We are neither a business nor a nonprofit, and so the idea is to set up as an individual. The individual option requires me to both dox myself for Stripe, which would also in turn dox me for like you guys, maybe, ? But like, do you want me to do this? Like, do you want it to be under my name and my information? Do you want it to be on yours? Do you want to have another do we do something else for this? Because
like a corporate entity. Yeah.
Well, because this also raises this other question. If we do this and we start to get paid money for this, we have to pay taxes on this. And I that's okay, but like I started talking to some other friends of mine, and they're just like, you're like, this may be something that you want to become, like you may be liable for in some fashion. I have a call scheduled with MW tomorrow to talk to him about like some concerns I'm having, but like I don't know what you guys would like me to do, and so I can ask more questions and get back to you, but like that is where I'm at on this.
Yeah. I have some
Stevie,
thoughts,
go
but
ahead.
I'll let Hero speak
Yeah.
first.
No, yeah, go please, brother.
Yeah, I mean, we've been running into the whole legal entity issue for a long time. I think it would be a bad idea to try to wrap this project up in a legal entity. I just don't think that's a smart idea, considering that, you know, we really don't even know what the hell is happening, or even how any of this even matters anyways. And then the other thing is, I mean, the way I personally would look at it is, okay, so I always like to start with the question of why are we doing this? So the first question would be, why are we doing this? And obviously my answer would be because somebody wants to do it, right? And so I think at this point, I think you're the only one that actually wants to do this and is willing to do it, right? And so really, like, I don't know if anybody here would actually want to be like handling any of like the actual pallet / you know, setting up a job board and all that stuff. So really the way I would look at it is, you know, this is an opportunity for you that if you want to take the opportunity, then you can run with it. And I think it's a great opportunity. I think there's definitely something potentially here. And in that case, I would just look at yourself as like, you're just like an independent contractor. So, you know, there's nothing wrong with like you providing services to other people or other DAOs or other companies. You can do that, you know, either through your own legal wrapper or through your own yourself personally. So I would personally look at it as, if you want to do this and you're really the only person here that has, you know, the chance to make some money from it, and you make money from it, great. But just treat it as like you're just a subcontractor and you're providing a service to a DAO, and, you know, any money you make, just make sure you report it, you know, personally. However you want to do that, either you spin up an entity for yourself to handle, you know, stuff like this in the future, or not. And I would just run it like that and not worry about it in terms of like, you know, setting up a legal entity for DAO punks in general. Like, you're just providing a service, and that's exactly what we're doing with like the shirts. So we need to set up a legal entity to run Shopify, and we set up a legal entity that's, again, it's just providing a service to DAO punks. It's not DAO punk's entity.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, +1 for whatever it's worth. I totally agree. And like, you know, I think that we just figure out like whatever the number is that you keep and whatever goes to the DAO punk's treasury, you know, and for and I think that we're pretty open to like whatever that number would be, you know. I mean, but
Yeah,
it's-
and so, you know, too, I mean, you're not liable for money that is owed to us, like, or not, I don't want to say us, but owed to DAO punk's treasury. So like, you know, if you're providing a service and a portion of the revenue is not yours, and it's, you know, the DAO punk's treasury's revenue, the DAO punk's, you know, general partnership or entity, whatever you want to call it, that they're liable for it. You know, again, the question here is like, who is that, right?
Okay. All right. I think I've got like
They're only liable for payments that go to you.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I have a conversation to talk with my SO then. I guess this is what this becomes. And then I will report back. So I got a few more phone calls. Like I said, I got a phone call tomorrow with MW, just to ask some like questions. But we are nearly good to go on Pallet, and if this goes well, like we'll be having a very different conversation maybe in like a week or two.
What is Pallet? I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
So we're literally making a job board, like a full on like a professional job board where people will pay, like, you know, we're placing people for work, either free like, you know, full on jobs, and if a person gets we're doing the reverse where we're broadcasting our talent, like people who want specific jobs, and what their skill set are, and companies will go in and then pick out like who they need for specific things and like give them and like look for them and try to hire them, and then you get paid for that placement.
Oh, cool. So there's already a platform that like allows you to kind of do that.
Yeah. So, and I'm
Nice.
getting it set up, and I'm just I've been I finally got everything like just about set up. And I just had a few questions about it, but it looks like you guys are just like, this is your project. Go run.
Another way to think about it too, dude, is like a lot of entrepreneurs just start doing stuff and they start to deal with
The consequences. Yeah.
no, not even consequences. You start to deal with problems as they arise. And so, like, for instance, you know, if you start this up and there's like very little revenue generated and it just kind of dies on the vine, then like whatever, it doesn't really matter how you set it up. If you set it up and then it starts becoming like, okay, this is something, you know, it's generating a decent amount of revenue and this is something that I need to like really rejigger. I mean, you can always go back and set stuff up the right way when it yields the necessary brain power to do that.
Okay.
You know, like there's so many companies that they just operate like they start up on a very basic standard and then, you know, they figure stuff out as they go.
Yeah, if the amount of income becomes consequential, then you can worry about further, investment into legal frameworks and, proper accountants or whatever the case may be. But if it's why go through all of it if you're gonna, and again, I'm not saying if you will, I think it's a great idea.
Okay.
But I mean, like, yeah, if it is an inconsequential amount of revenue, then you went through all that time and investment for all the frameworks, and then it's, did you even have to,
Yeah. Okay. Cool. I think I've got my answers.
Yeah,
But
that's dope that you found a platform to utilize the data that we have, because I thought for a while like that's the way to go, but I was thinking of it in terms of like we would have to build that out. So it's really awesome that there's something that exists already to utilize, because I think that can be a pretty lucrative operation.
yeah.
It's like a pretty fun path, Maiko. Like, so LiveFast did that first newsletter, dropped it in the channels, and MW, who works at Bankless HQ, was like, nice job. Then you guys started talking about Pallet, and like, it sounds like Pallet brings in HQ tens of thousands of dollars a month. Now, granted, they're going to have like more traffic, but it seems like those placements are lucrative. And I can tell you, like, we do job placements like as part of some of the newsletters that we ship out of Bankless now, and dude, they've earned us, I mean, like honestly, tens of thousands of dollars just in the last year. So like, it's an amazingly lucrative sort of deal, So LiveFast, get plugged in, and like,
Yeah.
Like we can talk splits after what can happen, but I mean, like, it seems like it can be lucrative for everybody,
Okay. Yeah. I gotta. This becomes like I have to talk to my SO about this, and then I gotta talk to MW. I scheduled a call with MW tomorrow.
SO is like your boss at the patent office?
No, my significant other. No, not my boss. No. Well, yes, my boss.
Yes, I understand. Yes, your domestic boss. Cool.
Yeah, one way you could look at it is, I mean, if you like, you could just set up a really basic entity for yourself, and then register it like as that, and then basically it's basically like you're just running a small business that provides job placement services.
Okay.
And Doubtbunks is one of your clients essentially.
Okay. All right. Cool.
You're basically talking about starting a small business right now.
Yeah. Like, if you could see me, I'm like just shrugging, be like, I guess I am. Like, just like, all right, like, I'm just gonna, like, I guess, yeah, I'm gonna like YOLO this. I think I got it. All right. That's.
I think it's very exciting. It's one of the views or like visions that I had for what this could become, and it seems like Bankless is already having success with it, and
yeah.
Pallet seems like a great idea. I'd love to get involved with that, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bankless does like $50,000 a month with theirs. They do a lot.
Crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
But here's where you're gonna have to think and focus. And why does Bankless make so much on their pallet? It's because all of the companies that want to be on their pallet are the ones paying.
Yeah.
And they know that Bankless has a big reach, and so they know there's a lot of talent on their job board.
Yeah.
Same with like Bankless Down. So you have to figure out like for this to be successful in any monetary fashion, like you
I
have to have
I have to
people there.
I have to sell us. I have to sell us our brand and our people for
We
it.
start as the discount Bankless, and then we become the premium.
So yeah, I've got this. I've got it. I know what I'm gonna do. Thanks, guys. Yeah, that's all I've got for you guys. Other than that, also just circling back to Mantis Clone. Mantis Clone is the first punk to actually use his punk for commercial purposes. That is a huge deal to me, and I'm very happy and proud. Like inside, it happened. Like that's huge.
Yeah.
That's
Honestly,
That's
it's
awesome.
cool. I honestly had my reservations if anybody would even want to use it for it. So that might just be because it's like I played a part in like making the visuals, and so you just kind of self-deprecate yourself. But yeah, I mean, it was super surprising to see that. So that's super cool.
Yeah. Although I was like actually kind of jealous. I felt upset that like whoever trolled me saying that they were gonna like make like a VR like porn with their punk, and I was like, "Yo, 100% do it. Do it. Send me the link when you're done." Because like,
Absolutely.
he was just like, "No, I was just messing with you." I was like, "Dude, no. Like that sounded so cool." I was like, oh man.
I can always make one wearing my Dao Punk shirt with your mom.
I mean,
Old school. Oh goodness.
like
That counts as Dao Punk, right?
I mean, if you sell it, like you have to sell it to at least one person, and then like I'd be like, okay, cool, like I get the dig, but like I like gotta respect that like you sold it to somebody.
Ugh.
I love it.
No, it is exciting.
Let me pivot away from sex with Live Fast Mom real quick to so like Gitcoin grants, right? The next rounds are in September, and the last time like we got denied for reasons that are really I think I don't really understand or unclear. So like, do we want to go and apply again and try to put a little more effort, or like maybe precision is a better word, into the application? And you don't always know if you qualify because the rounds are specific based upon where you live and what you do, but like maybe worth a shot. I don't know. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't even know we even applied last time, and I didn't even know we got rejected. What the hell?
Yeah, I mean, I just applied for us, and then it was sort of like pending for a long time, and had a bunch of different reviews and notes, and at the end it wasn't really clear why they said no, but I also didn't really follow up because I was kind of like, well, F you. And then I got into a side DM with I Speak Nerd, who joined on that application and sort of had some ideas on maybe how it could be better or more specific, I guess. And then he knows somebody at Gitcoin, so we got in this DM, but it didn't really seem to make a difference. So I think we got to look at the last application, maybe look at the guidelines and the kind of the round specific qualifications a little more closely, and like tailor the application for that. It seems like they reject a lot. Like when you go, they keep a big Notion page of all the people that apply and show like the approval and deny, and it's by far they deny way more than they approve. And I'm not really sure what the trick is, if it's in the gray area. So probably.
I thought one of the actual Dao Punks themselves, the grantees, I'm sorry, weren't, who was it?
Marcus.
That got. Yeah, so we have someone that was already approved, and now we have, the ability to say, like, we funded these 3, people or projects,
Right.
And we want to continue that. That seems like a pretty big difference before and after
I know, and they seem to have
last application.
And it seemed like some of the concerns were involved, around kind of having an already, I guess like liquid treasury from an NFT drop, or not a drop, but a sale, and things like that. But I don't think like being tokenized is somehow, prohibited under the guidelines. Like that would seem odd. So yeah, and then like, there's always Sean Mack, who's a Dao Punk, who's head of marketing for Gitcoin, who we could hit up and try to ask specifics. But I was trying not to really bug him too much. So there's that thought too. But okay, so let's just kind of put that in the back of our brains. I think that starts.
It can't hurt, Yeah.
So, and then see, but you're kind of done with Cult now, right? So we're not going to look to that for funding at all.
Yeah, no, they've gotten a lot stricter on their guidelines. Yeah, I guess we should have just striked when the irons were hot, but
It was all. That's all good. All right, cool.
We are the all right. Circling back last time, the general game plan is still for a grants program to start mid-September, barring I finish the framework, everything gets done, edits are done, and everybody's cool with like how this looks. But I'm still shooting for that. Yeah, just so you all are aware. And yeah, that's it. That's all I got.
I had a thought, like, I mean, I don't know that the party idea is like should be just backburned forever. I mean, I really do think that, that the DAO punks culture is like pretty unique and like respected within Web3 in a pretty broad sense, right? I mean, just by the merch that people drop at the conferences, you can see it's true. So I don't know. I mean, I think there is something to be said for kind of spreading that in various ways. And like grants, a great way to do it. Merch is cool, but IRL could still be a thing. Like I wouldn't say no to that just because, like why? It seems like an okay use. I mean, do you think we should just focus on grants until the ETH is gone? Depending on what kind of choices are made to try to replenish it, or like should we try to diversify a bit the way that we spread culture more intentionally? I mean, that's kind of a real question, I guess, generally.
yeah, I mean, I like the overall idea too. I'm more just thinking about like execution. Like I know we're all so busy that I don't know, it's gonna be hard to actually execute. I think there's also a chance too that we could ride the coattails of some other stuff too. Like, for instance, me and Sinjin have been working on this new project called GM Bus, Yaler.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, Yaler's with Metacartel. Yaler, I've actually just started to get to know Yaler, and he's actually super impressive. Yaler's been around the block for a while in crypto. He knows just about everybody that is worth knowing in the space. And Yaler is actually like the event coordinator for MCon. And MCon's like supposed to be really dope. So I'm going for the first time this year. The whole mission of GM Bus is to basically spread like crypto awareness IRL. And it's gonna like do fun events. Like it's basically this camper van, really nice like Mercedes camper van with like a Airstream green pill trailer on the back. And
Oh, dude.
yeah, dude, it's sick. And it's like we already have a sponsor from we got Gitcoin to sponsor us. We got like Metacartel. We got a bunch of other DAOs. I think Bankless DAO is gonna end up sponsoring us. We got all these really cool sponsors. And I believe DAOpunks is going to be added into that like kind of list of sponsors, even though we're not technically paying any money, which is good because we're just kind of through relation now. And where I'm going with this is basically this van is going to like travel around to all the different conferences and all sorts of other different things. And like Sinjin is really like a heavy hitter on it. And I can see how we can probably like kind of like let GM Bus like throw parties, and we can just like we
Can we just park that in Denver or what?
Yeah, like anywhere. They have all these cool spots. Like we can coattail it and be like, yo, like, meet up at the GM Bus, and like there's gonna be like, speakers and all sorts of really cool
put
stuff.
a GPS tracker in it or something, like broadcast a location.
Yeah, so I mean it's kinda like, if GM Bus is gonna front the bill on like IRL sort of things, and you have two people from DAOpunks kind of like leading the charge on it, I can't see how we can't kind of make some pseudo DAOpunk, GM Bus / other DAOs that are sponsoring it, just kind of throw big events like, and we just are kind of like, again, riding the coattail on there. We're not having to front the bill, which is great, or even any of the effort.
And I also wanted to, at least this is specific to ETH Denver, but in general it sounds awesome to have a presence at all these conferences. Like that has a ton of potential. But as for ETH Denver, oh, sorry, what?
Oh, I was just gonna say another option is we just approach, somebody like we approach GM Bus and we like actually try to like do like a legit sponsor, to where like the name is actually like front and center with the rest of the sponsors, and it's like, that's an option too. And then any of the events that the bus goes to this year, again, essentially it's like we have like mini events happening, and we only had to pay once. That's an option as well.
why pay for the sticker if we've got the people working it, though, I guess, is my thought.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree, and that's really where I was at too. So
Keep it underground, you know?
Yeah, I think it's kind of like a handshake. Like, yeah, okay, cool. You guys are sponsors, but not really.
But me and Addie, she's my fiance, we went to East Denver and we won like what's it called? It was a raffle for like, oh, I forget the name of the damn NFTs, but like East Denver launched it's like Spork or Spork DAO NFTs, or I can't remember his name, but anyway, we won like VIP tickets. I met a bunch of the coordinators at East Denver, like this one guy, Josh specifically. He was really cool. I just wanted to, I figured I could reach out to him and get some details about, maybe any advice for what we're trying to do, what he would do in our shoes, that type of thing, different opportunities, get some costs. So yeah, I'll report back at next meeting for that.
That sounds good.
See what I can dig up.
Yeah, I'm game to like do an event. I'm not opposed to that. I'm more, I guess, just worried about like pulling it off.
I mean, you're right about time and attention, right? Like, no doubt, And I mean, if you're going to plan a full-on event, that would be lots. I love the idea of coattailing it. Cool. Garrett, see what you come back with. Like, I don't know. I'm sure there's some minimal viable effort stuff that we could throw in there too, just to mix a couple different metaphors together, a couple terms together. Sounds fun.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I think the conversations I've had with Live Fast too is I feel like we haven't like really proven ourselves in terms of like, DAO Punks as a project. Like, we had a successful mint, and we've gotten some stuff done on the roadmap, which is great. But we've only done one grants round. Like, we say we're like, like public good, but we've only really like done public good like one time. And I think if we can get like some more grant rounds under our belt, and we just stick around during the bear market, like that alone is gonna just give us so much more like street cred, to where like maybe next year and stuff, when we start doing stuff and applying places, it's like people are gonna be like, oh, you guys are still here? Like, okay, cool. Like, okay, if you guys are still here, then that must mean you guys are legit, because everything else has just disappeared.
Evaporates. Yeah.
Yeah, that was my thinking. It's like, how do we make more street cred?
I mean, my philosophy is that like ever since the license, just like, hey, here's something that like we went from ambiguity to something like, and something very kind of like pseudo controversial. I mean, especially like, I don't know if you guys realize this, but like the day the week we announced that we passed it, like Moonbirds went CC0 and everybody was like talking about it, and I was just like, oh shit, like if only like somebody will actually be like, oh, that's weird, they went like this project went CC0, but this other one went the other direction too, that's interesting. Unfortunately, I think we missed the boat on that a little bit, but like, I mean, I just like, it's, I still think that like we're going to be okay. Like it's just, we're basically the tortoise in this. We will make it out. We just slowly do things that are for long-term longevity that people will talk about. It's just like you don't see it. We won't see immediate benefits. This is like the long-term project.
Yeah, and yeah, maybe have a little of both. Like I said, maybe we can tie in some sort of event presence and just find some sort of medium with both. But I absolutely agree. Like I said this from day one. Like I'm here for the long run. Like there's no way I don't want to keep building cool shit and building the space out. And I love working with you guys. So I think we're all interested in making it something bigger and better and cooler, and all that effort just speaks for itself, like you said, through the bear markets, through the bull markets. Just
Absolutely.
it doesn't matter. Just keep building and keep innovating.
Absolutely.
I love it. I couldn't agree more, Garrett. Like that actually is a pretty good pivot, because I want to talk about podcasts like for a second, if we can. Like if we're
Yes.
going to move.
Yeah, forgot about the podcast.
Yeah, I brought this up with Bushi the other day, and I wasn't sure how to broach the subject with you, buddy.
Oh no, I'm like an open book, man. So like, there's no big deals here, like in terms of approaching anything with me, honestly, like with fast.
Oh, okay. Because like the last time we brought this up, you're just like basically, what was your exact words were just like, it's dropping or I'm gonna off myself, and I'm like, that's a little extreme.
It's been like it's been an interesting right? Like, so this was something that was brought up by Daddy Matty, like, shit, guys, like back in December, he's like, hey, you want to do a podcast? I'm like, yeah, sure, why not, right? And so, found some people to help, and then Themes came in and said that she would executive produce because she has some experience kind of putting podcasts together, so she knew what platforms to use and what kind of graphics you needed, and maybe meta market and all those kind of stuff. Cool, right? And so, we did 3 interviews: Sinjin, Above Average Joe, and Think Decade, and then Daddy Matty decided that he just didn't have time and had to bail. So shit, all right. So we're thinking, well, do we keep on doing this or not? And then I'm like, sure, why not? Let's do some more. We had some more guests lined up, and so we ended up doing like, I don't know, recording like 8 or 9, and I think some of them are pretty good, and I'm like not really sure what to do with them. So this is what happened, so like Themes, I mean, I don't really know how to put this exactly that's politic, but like, I think wanted to kind of personalize the whole thing more and have a little more control over it than I was like comfortable with, and perhaps had ideas for it that I wasn't down for, and I was struggling how to kind of communicate that to her in a way that was clear, I think, and so like at some point it kind of like I don't know, like I was heading to that trip, and she's like, well, hey, I kind of got to put my attention into doing projects that are revenue generating. I'm going like, great, because I was already sort of like, oh, well, fuck, what do we do? And because kind of what I wanted to do was, I didn't really know, just kind of keep on making podcasts, and then, do them under like the podcast, the Dow Punks production stuff, and just sort of see what happened, but not necessarily kind of like have ownership of something, right? Where I think that she really wanted to use it as part of a greater narrative to onboard, diverse folks into Web3 and hold Twitter Spaces and do all this other stuff that I wasn't really necessarily down for, So there was a little split there. So we have like, I haven't really talked to her too much about like where we are at the moment. I think like what in the end I'm going to do is say, hey, here's what I want to do is just kind of take these raw recordings, and then we'll just do something amongst us at Dow Punks with them, and like, we're good, and thanks for your help, and see you later. And so I think I can do that conversation pretty elegantly, and essentially we'll be left with a couple like pretty finished, I think like Sinjin's episode's totally finished, although like she edited out the Dow Punks production part, so we have to do some more kind of arranging of the audio, but we have like all the intro and outro music, we have all the graphics, we have all the stuff, like all this collateral, so to speak, and then 9 raw interviews and a couple that finished that we can use like however we want. And in the end, like, there's stuff there to work a project if we want to, and it's by no means something like I want to own and be responsible for, and I want to be like a podcast host for Dow Punks. Like, it just, it's something that looks shiny for a minute, but in the end, like, it's not why I'm in this space, but I think we could use it like we wanted to within Dow Punks for all kinds of things, and we could all kind of be hosts and do things with it if we wanted to. So that's kind of where that is, right? It's sort of
you built out a lot of the infrastructure,
Well, the infrastructure is just all there, right? And so, like, it's just about how do we want to use it, and what do we want to use it, and then how do I divorce it away from Themes? And like, she's down. I mean, she already said that she wants, like, is good, and she offered to kind of finish the episodes out. But it's just not like a good human being, not a perfect fit for what we're trying to do. And she kind of felt that Dow Punks was exclusionary, which I found to be unusual and strange, and so I think I should have like just been more mindful of the progression as we went. So nonetheless, that's kind of where it is, and I'd love some feedback on that.
Yeah, I mean, I remember her bringing things like that up in the grants round, discussing like the screening process, and it's tough because obviously we all don't want to be exclusionary, but at the same time, we don't really have many walls up at the moment. So it's not like there's hierarchies or anything at the moment. We're just the guys that chose to keep working on it. I don't know.
I found it a little odd too, really. Like, but whatever the case,
Yeah, I just think, hey, if she tried, her angle, and you guys found the way to just you got, like I said, that infrastructure stuff done. I mean, I think like what LiveFast did with the the copyright or whatever you call it, but you build the infrastructure and then all of a sudden, people can do what they want. They can build on top of that. So maybe it's enough to just get a few out, provide some structure, and release it and see, if there's any interest.
Yeah, I think you should just try to get it out. And I mean, you already spent so much time on it, and other people's, time. Might as well just, even if you're never gonna do another episode, just get them into the world.
That's
You
what I was
never know
thinking,
who
too.
finds it.
Yeah, so I think like publisher can take care of the audio parts. Like, I don't know about audio editing, some of that raw stuff. Like, I mean, part of you could just do like the punk ethos thing, right? Where you, except for the really obvious parts where like you say, I'm going to stop the recording because hold on, you could sort of
Right.
put together a pretty amateur edit and then slap the music on the back and the front end and ship it. Or we could try to clean it up better. I think that's where I kind of am going to stall out. I mean, I'll take care of themes, like that's cool, and then kind of go from there. And then we got to figure out like who do we know who can put some effort into cleaning it up if we want to do that and release them and just let them soar out there. And like I think that just I'd pull like the Hero Canelli stuff off and just release it as like web free by DAO Punks essentially. Just have it like a DAO Punks product, so or whatever you want to think about.
I mean, I've never edited any podcasts before, but I've done some music editing before. Some general music, audio editing and tracks, overlap, that kind of stuff. Like, I don't know, I might be able to help. I wanted to investigate this East Denver thing and a couple other things, but maybe I can help, collaborate on that with you.
Dope.
Yeah, if there's like maybe top two, how many did you say we're getting close, like to release? Like you had 3 that were.
So like I think that the from what I recall, Syngens and then the cohort one are all edited except that the DAO Punks production language got taken out, so that needs to go back in.
All right.
And then so those 2.
Yeah, maybe we could just one-on-one about
I
this.
think Decades audio has been edited, so that just needs a front and a back end slapped on it with some music. And by front and back end, I guess I mean just like there's like set intro and outros and stuff, just audio tracks to get pasted on the front and the back, and then
Sure.
some intro
For
from
consistency's sake, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. So we have all that's what there is. And then graphic, right, to release things with covers and social media covers, right? So like if you tweeted it through DAO Punks, you could use one of these graphics, to go with the tweet.
All right. Very cool.
All right.
Yeah, we can talk about that.
Let me talk.
DMs.
I've been just ignoring themes. Like we're totally on good terms. Like there's no bad blood or anything like between us. It just like needs to be wrapped up and just kind of like taken care of. So I'll put that on my list to take care of before I talk to you guys next week.
Very good. I just one last thing that I wasn't sure what happened. I guess it was maybe a week or 2 ago. Something about like treasury votes or something. I think Myco and LiveFast. What's going on with that? I didn't really understand because I didn't listen to the recording.
We were just adding them. I think you're probably talking about. We were just adding them to the multi-sig.
Oh, it was a multi-sig. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we still have some people on the multi-sig that like helped just get the project started, and like we needed multi-sig signers, so we had a couple people volunteer that probably don't even know who they are, and but we trust them, like they're good people. But now it's we were just talking. We're like, maybe it's time we just like kick them off the multi-sig, and we actually add people that are here. So you're another person we can definitely add to the multi-sig too, if you want to be. It's only if you want to be, but the more.
I'd love to. I mean, I had a crazy last couple of weeks, but other than that, now that I got promoted, that I don't have to like Lyft drive anymore, which will be nice. I really can just get back to focusing on DAO Punk shit. I want to just really it's been you know that feeling where when you're away from the space, it's just like pulling at you constantly. It's like get back in it, you know, and I feel better prepared. I'm gonna have more free time again, and I just really want to, you know, work with you guys as much as possible. So
Awesome.
Brother.
I'd love to hear it.
Yes, I mean, and do not feel bad about being gone for a couple of weeks. I was actually also gone for a few weeks. You know, like I guess the difference is I don't feel bad. I'm just happy to be back. But I get it.
yeah, ditto.
Yeah, I mean, just always so. I mean, you're just a core part of the team, pal, on the community. But, yeah.
Yeah, and I mean, I would say one thing I just wanted to mention earlier, just because Live Fast, I know, like, we're all critical of the first round of grants, but at the same time, like, you came in after some of the dust had settled. Like, when we first started, and there were like 20, 30 people doing, you know, multiple documents and multiple edits every day of the week, and like trying to put it all together and then make a framework and blah blah blah. Like, it was chaotic, and you know, you've done amazing work since then. But I just mean, like, at least to me, it felt like we did have some pretty cool shit happen for our first attempt at it. So.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not being harsh to be like to put us down. I'm being harsh on like the things that like on like things that like I see that like I'm not
low hanging fruit.
Yeah, like I'm not doing this again. Like, and like those are like the things that like those are like we could do this better. Like, these are like these other things. The over like I'm proud that we actually did the project. The project completed. It's like it's good, it's done, it worked. Like the actual like minute like the minutia of how it gets done, that's what gets me. And I'm like, no, like that's like there was a lot of like it was like that's what bothers me, and that's what like I hated. And I was just like, there was like I was like, this is dumb, this is not like we're not doing this again because this serves no purpose, this is frustrating. Like,
I know.
dude, like, and I'm like I was like that's what it is. That's it. So don't people who are listening to this in the future who look back on this and will bring this up at my Senate my Senate confirmation hearing or my first indictment. I am not.
First
They're the same day.
Possibly both. Yeah, same day.
Like I am not like I am hypercritical of like what I do. I'm always second guessing it, and I always find the flaws in like what like I see that just like how we can do it better, and that's what like I will try to do. So yeah. Also, like, you know, hey, how you doing?
Just love yourself too a little, but it's totally fair. And then I mean, you know, they're gonna. It's all good. Fair. Big.
I have this fear. I have this fear that like somebody's gonna like at like, you know, I'm gonna be at like a Senate, like I'm gonna be at like some big thing, and they're just gonna be like, hey, like let's bring out this video from like, you know, X time when you said this. I'm gonna be like, yup, like it's gonna happen. I feel
Look, here's a video of you mocking at.
I like.
Literally, you're mocking. He predicted it, and he's mocking it.
Yeah, I know.
That's admitting fault. He already admitted fault years ago.
And also, we confiscated all your hardware models.
Dear future Live Fast, you done fucked up. You should have saw this one coming. Also, by the way, like I'm calling the lotto numbers at your time period are going to be 4, 17, 18, 27, 36, 54, with the special mega ball number is going to be 29.
Oh, my
Oh,
God.
okay.
You have this recorded, right? I didn't do it back in the
Yeah. I have a weird sense of humor.
Listen, I'll do it.
Oh,
I hope. Yeah, I'm glad you do.
All right, I think that wraps up. We're 10 minutes over, guys.
cool.
Yeah, I just missed you guys. Happy to be back.
Missed you
And,
too. I was also like, but by the way, I was also like starting to get slowly concerned because I sent you a few messages and I hadn't heard from you, and then I was like stalking. By the way, I stalked the who voted, and like I didn't see your name, and I'm like, bro, where are you? Like, where are you? Vote, please vote.
I by the time I logged in, I was like, you got to be kidding me! It already happened. Like, oh shit. Yeah, that just sent me further, and like, yeah, I can't even show my face there, and like. I just stupid mental because I was just in like a dark spot, obviously, all that shit piling up. But it was just, I'm like, I can't believe I missed a damn vote, man. But I'm glad it went through because it looks like it came out the way I would have voted anyway.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah. Thanks. All right, guys. You're all lovely. As Hero says, like, I love you. Keep up the good work.
Yes. Awesome job, guys. Enjoy the rest of your week and your weekends.
Much love, y'all.
Oh.
Ditto.
Also, before CB, I need you to stay around because I need you to show me how to use a multisig.
Yeah, that's fine. I can do that real fast.
All right, you guys.
All right,
And
guys.
Take care. Bye.
See ya.